this is your review for your quiz on lessons 4.5 to 4.6. So if you're watching this, you should definitely have a piece of paper out and be copying down these problems so that you can use it on your quiz. So the first couple say to translate this sentence into an equation. So we're going to take this verbal sentence and we're going to change it into an equation with numbers, operations, and an equal sign. Number 1 says the sum of 6 times a number and -8 is 15. So remember, we want to look for that keyword is to tell us what to set our equation equal to. If there's no keyword is, we also want to think about, okay, like what is the total here? What is the total amount? So we know it is 15, so I'm going to set it equal to 15. And then we have the sum, which I know sum is addition. 6 times a number. 6 times a number, I'm going to write 6x. And -8. Well, I know and is addition, so I'm going to do 6x plus -8. Number 2 says the product of a number and -3 is 90. So again, we have is 90. So I'm going to set my equation equal to 90. And here we have the product of a number and -3. Product is multiplication. So instead of writing x times -3, I'm going to write this as -3 times x. So -3x. These next two problems say to solve the equation. So I'm going to use my 5-step process of solving, with the first step being add up. So can I add up? Yep. Change it to plus -5. I can't distribute because there's no parentheses, but I can simplify. So I'm going to do my line down the equal sign, and here we have 2h plus -5h. Those have the same variable, so those can be simplified. I'm going to rewrite this as 35 equals 8 plus, and then 2h take away 5h. They have different signs, so I subtract. 5 minus 2 is 3, and it's going to be negative because -5 has a larger absolute value. So 35 equals 8 plus -3h. Well, here we have a positive 8 as our constant. I need to get rid of that constant. So there's two things you could do here. You can add -8 to both sides because it's good to get into that habit, or you can just subtract 8 from both sides. It's the same thing. 35 minus 8 is 27 equals 8 minus 8 is 0, so those just cancel. And then we just have -3h left. Okay, so we've gotten rid of that constant. Now we need to get rid of the coefficient. Right now we have -3 times h. So I'm going to divide both sides by -3. The opposite of multiplying by -3 is dividing by -3. 27 divided by -3 is -9. And then -3h divided by -3 would just be positive 1h. So I'm just going to write that as h. So -9 equals h. Number 4 says 12 equals m divided by 2 plus 6. So again, can I add up? Nope, there isn't any subtraction. Can I distribute? Nope, there isn't any parentheses. Can I simplify at all? Not yet. So now I need to get rid of the constant. Remember, whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. My constant is plus 6. So I'm going to take away 6 from both sides. And again, you can add -6 or just subtract 6. It's the same thing. 12 minus 6 is 6 equals m divided by 2. And then plus 6 and minus 6 cancel. So I'm just left with 6 equals m divided by 2. Now to get m by itself, I need to do the inverse. Right now we have dividing by 2. The opposite of dividing by 2 is multiplying by 2. So I'm going to make brackets and do a 2 on both sides. 2 times 6 is 12. And then 2 divided by 2 is just 1, so I'm just left with m. 12 equals m. Remember, it's always a good idea to check your answer. What we can do for this is we can plug 12 in for m. So 12 divided by 2 plus 6 and see if we get 12. Well, 12 divided by 2 is 6. And 6 plus 6 is 12. So check, our answer is correct. And we can also check back on problem number 3. We can plug it into this simplified version. So 8 plus -3 times -9. Multiplication comes first. 3 times 9 is 27. And then we have plus 8. 8 plus 27 is 35. So check. That's what I was going for. So my answer of -9 was correct. Okay, the next problem says to write an equation for the situation and to solve it. So it says a farmer wants to plant corn on 200 acres of land. He has already planted 92 acres. If he plants 18 acres each day, how many days will it take him to finish? So there isn't an is in this situation. So we want to think about, okay, what's the total amount of corn? Well, it tells us that he wants to plant 200 acres. So I'm going to set this equation equal to 200. And then he's already planted 92 acres. So that's a one-time thing. So I'm going to do 92 plus 18 acres each day. Well, remember, each is multiplication. So I write that as 18, and then I'll do times d for days. You could do x, really any variable. So 92 plus 18d equals 200. You could also write this as 18d plus 92 equals 200. So now I'm going to go through that process of solving. I can't add up, I can't distribute, I can't simplify, so I need to get rid of my constant. Right now my constant is a positive 92. So the opposite of plus 92 is minus 92. And remember, whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. 92 minus 92 is 0, so we're just left with 18d equals 200 minus 92 is 108. Now I still don't have my variable by itself. Right now we have 18 times d. Well, the inverse of multiplying by 18 is dividing by 18. So I'm dividing both sides by 18. That leaves me with d equals 6. And then I just have to think here, okay, what would my label be? It says how many days will it take him to finish planting? So it would be 6 days. My last question here again says to write an equation for the situation and to solve it. Cody has saved $160 towards a game system. If he plans to save $500 each week, how many weeks will it take to have a total of $300 for the system? So again, there's no is here, but we want to set our equation equal to the total. Well, it tells us that the total is $300. And then I know he's already saved $160. So I'm going to write it as $160 plus, and then he's going to save $5 each week. Well, each is multiplication, so I'm going to write that as 5w. You could use any variable here. 5 times the number of weeks. So $160 plus the $5 each week he's going to save is going to equal the total of $300. I can't add up, I can't distribute, I can't simplify, so I need to get rid of the constant. Here we have plus 160, the opposite of positive 160 is minus 160. So I'm subtracting 160 from both sides. 160 minus 160 cancels. So I'm left with 5w equals, and then 300 minus 160 would be 140. Okay, then to get w by itself, I need to do the inverse and divide each side by 5. So w equals 140 divided by 5 is 28. Then we just need a label. It says for how many weeks will he have to save to get that total, so it's 28 weeks.